There's a new program at the Walt Disney World resorts that may make or break the company. It's either going to fix Disney World's biggest problem or be the end of a system that we kind of like, that being fastpass. But Lightning Lane Premier Pass is now expanding out to more guests, and you could possibly spend $400 or more to skip the line at each attraction just one time per day. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is theme park guru, Mr. VashSky. Vash, I cannot wait. I literally cannot wait to talk about this.
Oh, this is a big one because, if we've seen the trend line for a product like this, it was maybe predictable, foreseeable, but still surprising nonetheless, and I can't wait to get into it.
Right, let's talk about Lightning Lane Premier Pass. This from Scott Guston, who may or may not be the media arm of the Walt Disney Company. No disrespect to Scott Guston, but I don't think Disney actually announced this. Scott Guston did announce it, though. Maybe he's just that fast. Effective tomorrow, January 21st, Lightning Lane Premier Pass at Walt Disney World will be available to all guests. Previously, it was only available to resort guests. With this change, resort guests can buy Lightning Lane Premier Pass, LLPP, 7 days in advance, and all guests can buy 3 days in advance. And then there are no other changes to Lightning Lane Premier Pass, and Disney says it continues to be offered in very limited quantities. Here's the update added to the website, that being beginning January 21st, Walt Disney World Resort will expand. It's exactly what you would think here. And someone here named For the Love of E.T. says, I thought I was getting it. Now I'm back to confused. Well, let's unpack some of that confusion here. And Vash, you can take over the screen whenever you have something to offer up. But a brief history of Lightning Lane Premier Pass, or maybe we should say Genie Plus in its original form. And this is where we lose the guests who already understand, those who already have their degree in Disney, as ridiculous as it may be. Under the Chapek regime, they announced an app called, a service within the My Disney Experience app called Genie. Genie Plus is the paid service. If you got Genie Plus, you could do a Lightning Lane, either you could either do the Lightning Lane, and then there was also Lightning Lane single rider for individual rides. We're not going to go too deep into that. We're going to ignore the existence of the virtual queues as well. Basically, a lottery system that if you didn't get into the ride, you could pay for Lightning Lane, which was then renamed as Lightning Lane Multipass, getting rid of the Genie Plus moniker, and then Lightning Lane Single Pass. These ranged all the way up to, I want to say, around $40 for Lightning Lane Multipass, where you could select 3 rides and it functioned kind of like paid fastpass. And then there was also the single riders, which I think that was around $10 to $15 per ride. Now, at some point in the recent past, Disney decided to do Lightning Lane Premier Pass, which is a $400 for Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure Pass that allows you to skip the line without having to reserve on the phone. You still have to buy it through the phone, I'm sure, for every ride at Disney, except you can only skip that line once per day. When we say skip the line, we mean skip out of the standby line and get into the Lightning Lane line to be there with the people who paid $35 and $10 or whatever for that. Originally only available to deluxe resort guests, which means minimum your party is paying $700 per day just to be able to buy this service. And then it was extended out to all Disney resort guests. And now, Vash, what's going on?
Well, now it's being expanded out to include all guests going to Walt Disney World. Previously, like you said, it was only available to resort guests, and you had a qualifying list of resorts. I believe that included all 25 plus, as Disney would say, plus a couple of good neighbor hotels. But now it's everybody. So they've taken a product that was very limited at first, where you had to stay at basically a deluxe hotel, and now we've gone full circle and now are expanding out to everybody. Again, this is a very expensive product. plus $350 or more, depending on the park that you actually choose for the day. And we did cover, by the way, that they had sold out multiple times over Q1 for the Walt Disney Company, that being Q4 for any of us visiting Walt Disney World. So obviously, this has been a very successful product for Disney. They like the returns from this, and I think with the lack of people actually going to Walt Disney World in the first place, but two, staying in a resort hotel, this makes a lot of sense to open it up to everybody if you're looking to cash in on something like this.
Yes, and this is the thing where it gets a little weird, and most people, other than me mocking them for the degree in Disney, and heaven help you, Vash, in trying to edit all of that into a usable form. This is something that might actually be good for the Walt Disney Company. As much as I think there should be no skip the line function whatsoever. I get it for celebrities there that will affect the flow of the park or whatever, just sneaking somebody in. I think there should be access for people who are disabled or cannot wait in a line for some reason. I think the definition of who cannot wait in a line has changed a lot over the last few years. Obviously, Disney has messed that up. But I think that Lightning Lane Premier Pass is possibly the right move if you are still going to do skip the line. Vash, how does skip the line work at Universal, and why does it actually work at Universal versus Disney?
Yes. So skip the line at Universal is through their Express Pass system, and Express Pass, I believe it includes. I think there's three separate tiers. One includes basically all the attractions that have Express Pass within them, and the other one is you can only go on those rides once per day. And there's like a Express Pass Unlimited, which allows you multiple rides for all those specific attractions right there. It works because it's a very limited system, and they only sell so many of them, and that keeps the Express Pass lane clear. Okay, there is no like cheaper option to get into the Express Pass lane. Keeps it clear, and also too, it keeps the standby flowing. Now, if you do stay at like a deluxe equivalent hotel at Universal, you can get that service included. But again, they only sell so many per day, and there is no cheaper option by which people can buy in. When you hear about, the company selling, like everybody who visits Walt Disney World, 50% of those people buy into not Premier Pass, but these Lightning Lane services, and then they get up to Premier Pass. Well, you can imagine how much stress that actually puts on the Lightning Lane, because now you have that lane occupied by, I think, 5 different recipients. So you have the Disability Access Service, you have Lightning Lane Single Pass or Multi-Pass, you have Lightning Lane Premier Pass, and you have VIP services. I'm sure I'm missing one, but you get the point. Because so many people are occupying that Lightning Lane, well, it's not very efficient for everybody, especially the people paying $350 plus for a service like this, but definitely for the people who have to stand by and wait their turn.
Well, I will say it is only about 130 for guests at Animal Kingdom, which does not have any rides. The reason that this might be good for Disney here, one, it does raise their revenues. It raises the per caps the more people do this service. And the more expensive something is, the economic theory here is if you're in a disaster and someone charges an exorbitant amount of money for bottled water, that means that bottled water will only be used by people who value it at that rate. So if you have free bottled water for everyone in an emergency, they can go ahead and steal all the bottled water, and not steal, but take the bottled water. If that bottled water is priced at $30 a bottle, then a woman needing to feed her child with baby formula is able to buy that water. Now, I'm not endorsing price gouging, but that is the economic case for why maybe someone should raise their prices on certain non-refillable goods here. So if there are exorbitant prices on Lightning Lane, that gets the Lightning Lane out of consideration for the regular guests. That is the theory that I'm going with here, and I think that actually does stand up to scrutiny. Vash, looks like you have some thoughts there.
No, you're talking about a classic supply-demand scenario, and I do agree. If you limit supply for a service like this by a lot, and demand stays the same or even increases because of that limited supply, then you can charge a higher price for it. The problem we see right now is that Lightning Lane, at least the multi-pass Lightning Lane and the individual Lightning Lanes, are a little bit too accessible. That's kind of the issue. Now, for individual Lightning Lane, for attractions like Cosmic Rewind, maybe you could see a case for that sticking around. Multi-pass Lightning Lane, especially in the era of Premier Pass Lightning Lane, I don't think makes a whole lot of sense because of the unbelievable demand and strain that puts on the system. Well, that's why you have people buying into multi-pass Lightning Lane and only be able to get 2 or 3 attractions per day. I had a story actually submitted by one of our viewers who was saying that they bought into a Lightning Lane multi-pass for the day at Disneyland, and they were only able to use it 1 or 2 times for a park that has maybe 20 Lightning Lane attractions in it. That's kind of absurd, but it's the operational reality as it currently stands with so many people buying into these systems.
Agreed. This is something that if Disney got rid of the lower tiers of Lightning Lane, then Lightning Lane Premier Pass might be a net good for the entire company and for the guests of the Walt Disney World Resort. Now, if they ended up putting that money into actually maintaining the parks on the level that they should be maintaining the parks, and I'm not talking about every 5 years or so deciding to shut down all of the rides in Magic Kingdom like they seem to be doing right now. It's not all the rides. It's Big Thunder Mountain and Astro Orbiter that have massive cranes going right now. But the point still stands. Disney could be doing a lot better job of this. And I know there has to be someone here that is hearing this, and I want you to listen to me. If you can get rid of multi-pass, you may be taking the steps that you need in order to make this company run the way that it should run. And also, just think about this. Have it to where someone on their phone only sees benefit from using their phone, and that someone not using their phone can still enjoy the parks at that level. Just saying. With that being said, we want to throw this to our audience. What do you think about Premier Pass being available to everyone as long as you book it 7 days in advance or 3 days in advance, and you still have to get all the particular requirements there? Like this video, of course, if you found it engaging in any way. And of course, if you haven't done it, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.